Welcome to the Oklahoma Outdoor Adventures Podcast, brought to you by Yellow Hat Outdoors. All right, welcome everyone to episode 9. It's Glenn.
And it's your now new favorite podcast host, Hudson, after last episode.
That's right. Hey, and we have a true legend in the house. And I don't say those words lightly. You know, I've described our one other guest as a legend, but this guy really is. Born and raised on the west side of Oklahoma City on a small homestead. Him and his family are preppers. Grew up literally like Tarzan, living in the woods, swinging from tree to tree, killing animals, catching fish, riding dirt bikes, taming horses, and this guy grew up to be one of the best wide receivers and safeties in the state in high school. And he's loving this intro by the minute. Played D2 football in college and then threw in the towel. And his name is Landon Stout. Landon, how did you like your intro?
Some of it was true, but I don't know about all of it.
Okay, hey, that's good. That's good.
We've been trying to get him on because it's been a little difficult to get him on because he has been in the Highway Patrol Academy. He's now graduated and is starting to do some shifts and get his legendary name out there on the highways. People hear Trooper Stout and they go running.
That's right.
Or they come running, depending on who you are.
Watch
out, criminals.
I'm happy to be here. It's been a long time. The academy sucked, and now I'm out. So I'll be on from here on out.
That's good. I like the sound of that. Well, after all of your arrests in your academy, before that, there was a young Landon, a guy that we grew up with that we mentioned earlier.
Some call him Laramie, some Landel.
Yep.
Baby deer, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask the first question because I don't think people will believe this. How many dogs did you have growing up?
So I grew up on, it was 10 acres in El Reno, Oklahoma. And 10 acres to me seemed like more land than I knew what to do with. And it wasn't in the best area of Oklahoma. So, I mean, I don't know. I was so young, I don't really know for a fact how many animals we had. But I know there'd be cats in and out living in the barn, catching mice and rats. And then I would say every couple months a new dog would show up. A new stray dog would show up that somebody dumped or whatever, and show up on our doorstep, and me and my 3 brothers would just be all over it, take care of it, and then grow to love it. And they were all outside dogs because my parents knew that they were probably gross and nasty, ticks and fleas and stuff. And so we would grow to love the dog or cat or whatever, and then it would very soon after that die or run away, or somebody would come pick it up off the road or something. So yeah, lots of heartbreak when I was a kid.
How many of them had an actual death of long life? One?
I mean,
because that's all I can think of right now.
Yeah. I don't remember. I mean,
well, a couple made it to where you moved back into the city. So that, I guess, that kind of helps.
Yeah, those weren't the strays that showed up. Those were dogs that my dad got from the pound or something.
Okay.
Actually, Copper was a stray. Copper, we got her when she was a little puppy. She just showed up one day, and she lived till 15, maybe 16.
Yeah.
So.
She had a pretty hefty coyote kill count. Yeah.
That's what we told ourselves. I don't know if that was ever true.
They definitely fought.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would be all bloodied up sometimes, but
who knows even what? Yeah. Who knows if it was just other dogs or coyotes, but
yeah. And we would have dogs show up. I remember one day we were going to school, and it was really early one winter morning, and we go outside to load up in my mom's Suburban, and our 2 dogs at the time, Racel and Whaley, both black labs and probably mixed with 10 other dogs, But they showed up and they had porcupine quills all in their faces and chest and neck and stuff, and it was really sad, and it was freaky to see as like a 8-year-old kid or whatever I was. But that's just the type of stuff that our dogs had to deal with out there.
Yeah, it was always a good time going out to your house just because who knew what we'd get into. There's a dirt bike track and tons of dogs and
Pellet guns.
yeah, literally anything with a. I would say anything with a heartbeat. That sounds really bad, but
But
there was
anything with a heartbeat was
there was a
not
lot
safe.
of bullfrogs and squirrels and
Possums.
Did you guys shoot a couple deer out there? I know you had a few blinds, but
Yeah, well, my neighbor had 40 acres right next to us, and he would let us deer hunt that. So me and my dad would go over there and deer hunt and turkey hunt. But there were deer on our land too, because I mean they were just right next to each other, so we hunted both of them.
yeah, they'd come through every once in a while.
Yep.
Yeah, had a good fishing pond on there too. That
Yeah.
wasn't too shabby.
Yeah, fished off the dock. Bunch of perch. We would go in there. I remember, at least I know me and Brock Holiday or Landon Holiday. I don't know if you would do it too, but in the summers, whenever we didn't have school, we would wake up early and take a Pop-Tart, and we would tell ourselves that we were living off the land that day, and we would take like a lighter, a pellet gun, and then stuff to fish with, and we would just be gone from sun up to sundown, fishing, hunting, riding dirt bikes, quote unquote living off the land. But that's what we would do. Those were my summers growing up.
Gosh, that's a good time.
Yeah.
That explains why you like to be outside, probably.
Yes, I do like to be outside.
Yeah, it's nice. I was always jealous growing up because I was like, I always told my mom, like, I want a dirt bike so bad. And I just knew you guys always were just shredding it up on them.
Yeah, we were very lucky to have dirt bikes whenever we were growing up, and my dad was nice enough to buy us dirt bikes or whatever and build the tracks that y'all saw and the jumps and all that stuff. And I don't know how nobody died out there because
It's actually impressive.
It was the Wild West.
Well, I don't know how. I mean, is your youngest brother Daxton the only one that suffered like a broken limb out there? Did
You remember when
anybody else?
Dalton and Brady ran into each other?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That was the closest they
Yeah.
ever got to
Well,
somebody getting seriously hurt.
Dalton's shin was pretty bad.
Yeah, from hitting the
Yeah,
the pedal.
What happened on that exactly?
I think he just hit that jump on that Kawasaki he had with the monster stickers. You know? I think he hit that jump going pretty, because that was I mean, I haven't seen it since I'm like older now, but from what I remember, that was a big jump. And,
One small.
I think he hit it going really fast and tried to do like one of those tricks where your legs come off but your hands stay on. I don't even know what they're called now, but I think he didn't get his foot all the way back on, so when the bike hit the ground, his body was still off the seat, and then he caught the pedal with his nothing but his shin.
Gosh.
So that metal peg thing went into it.
Went right through the old shin bone.
Didn't go to the doctor, didn't go to the hospital.
Why would you? There's
Wrapped
no
it
need.
up, wrapped it up for a few days, and then was showing it off at school.
Yeah.
That was a perfect recipe of disaster. Having those dirt bikes and the like trail and stuff, and then having it be like the prime of like Nitro Circus on TV
Yeah.
and stuff. So like we'd be sitting in your house, Nitro Circus is on, and then we'd be like, oh, dude, we should go try some of this.
If Travis
can do
Pastrana
that.
can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not go for it if old Travis can, Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was thinking too, wrecked four-wheelers, wrecked dirt bikes. Every time I'd go over there, there was like a zip line for a while.
Do you remember that zip line?
Yeah, it was wild.
That thing was like 100 feet up in the air on that, and it was like, it had to be like 300 yards long or something.
It was long.
Yeah.
That was so cool. And Cliff built it by himself, him and his dad.
Of course,
So I
yeah.
have no idea if it was safe or what, but that thing was cool.
Backyard zip lines are some of the most fun things as a kid, but as an adult, you're just like, what the heck? Like, that's literally like, I don't know how you don't even consider, like, someone's going to die on that thing.
Yeah, my dad made us wear tree stand harnesses, like a climbing rope, all the way up. And then we'd have to, I think you have to do it even on like shorter zip lines, but we would just clip, like we were wearing a deer hunting harness and just clip it in to the thing. Like that was going to save us. I mean, we didn't wear it.
Right.
But
right. You wore it when Dad was home. Yeah. That's awesome. So, grew up on the farm there. Well, farm. That's a broad term. Grew up on a little bit of land. Got to spend a lot of time hunting, running around like crazy, riding dirt bikes, all that. And then, when was it? Like high school that you guys kind of moved back into the city?
Yeah, it was right before Christmas when I was a freshman, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so you spent high school in the city, but...
Well, War Acres.
Oh, yeah, that's right. War Acres, baby. Right next to some nice sketch apartments. Just a good time. You know, one time my Suburban got smoked there on spring break.
Yeah. And the pond across the street, they would have to drain it every couple of months because there would be a murder weapon thrown in there or something.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. Some nice human bones and skulls and stuff in there, probably.
Nothing like it.
Just like good old Lake Overholser.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, moved into the city then in high school and then went and I guess I'm just thinking out loud here, but how much did you hunt through high school? Were you pretty... I know we fished every single evening during our junior and senior year, maybe sophomore year too. Once we could drive, we pretty much started fishing every single night.
Yeah, we would fish a bunch, but I remember when I would go, because my family would always go skiing for spring break, and it would just kill me because that's like, right around the spawn, and it's like just now getting warm. You're starting to feel that it's summer. So when I was a sophomore, junior, senior, and I would go skiing, and y'all would be back home fishing, I would be so jealous. Even though like I'm such a spoiled brat or whatever, we were skiing in Colorado or New Mexico or whatever, but it would just kill me to not be back fishing with y'all. But to answer the question about deer hunting in high school, me and good old Rob Greer, we had that spot in Geary. Rogers, rest in peace, that place. But like it would be a bummer whenever we would lose in playoffs, junior and senior year or whatever, and like our football season would be over. Like, oh, that's a bummer. But once we lost, we didn't have practice anymore, so we would just have to check in and then check out. And good old Coach Roof was our boy, and we would check in with him at like before 7th hour even started, and we were supposed to report to him. And we would say, hey, do you care if we get out of here real quick and head to Geary to go hopefully kill a deer? And me and Rob would just load up and drive out to Geary. And I think we did that almost every single day for like 2 months straight.
Just have everything packed and loaded to go and
just take off from the field house and go kill spikes out there on accident.
Did you do that or was that Rob?
I shot... So there were giant deer out there, and it was an evening spot, just a huge wheat field with like a little peninsula of trees, and it was like middle of October or whatever, and shooting time was, let's say like 6:45. Like shooting light ended at 6:45 or whatever. So I heard something walking down the creek, and it's like just about pitch black outside. And a little like somehow the sun got through the trees, and I saw that it was a deer, probably like 30 or 40 yards, walking straight towards me down the creek. And I saw its head, and I didn't see any antlers, so I was like, okay, it's a doe, I'll take it. Looked at my watch, it's like 6:45 or whatever, the exact minute shooting time ended, and drew back, smoked it at like 10 yards, and then texted Rob like, hey, got one down, come help me find it. And because I'm colorblind, and Rob has to help me find my deer.
And it doesn't help at night too. That makes it a little tougher.
Yeah, so which remind me, I have a story to tell about that later. But so we went up to this deer, and it's like it was pretty good sized doe. And then I grab its head, and it's got like 3 antlers on one side and one on the other side that's like an inch long. It's like such a weight. Like, poor little guy had no idea. I had no idea either, but smoked it.
He's done for.
Oh yeah,
He ate good.
That's
he
right.
did.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember going out there a few times with you guys setting up stands and stuff. I didn't really care about deer hunting, but I remember stopping by there one time after turkey hunting.
Yep.
And dude, so we were, I think it was maybe just me and you. Dax and your little brother might have been there too. At Shots by Daxon. Shots by Daxon. Shots by Daxon. Get him on Instagram. So we were like, well, let's go check out Rogers on the way home and see if there's any turkeys. Because we were just thinking, beautiful wheat field, like, little tree line.
And I've seen turkeys and heard turkeys out there before, so. But it was a gamble.
It was a total gamble.
Straight gamble.
But also we were like, well, we suck at hunting anyway, so let's just stop by on the way home. And so we get out there, and we parked up on the hill, and we see like kind of some black kind of movement and goes into the trees. And so we were like,
hundreds of yards away from the road.
So naturally we're like, oh my gosh, that's a big old turkey or something. We start stalking down there, and it's a pig. And so we're like 150 yards away, and of course we look at each other. We're like, oh, we're about to go kill this thing. And we have one shotgun with 3.5-inch turkey loads. And of course Landon grabs it from me. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to shoot this thing. And I was like, well, it's too far for me to go back to the truck. I don't want to like stand here by myself because that's scary. So I had like a pocket knife, and I was just like, oh dear Lord, this is not going to go well. And so we like stalked through the bottom, and like we came out by this thing. How close do you think we were? Because like it was like, I felt like it was like 15 or 20 yards.
See, I was going to say like 30 or 40.
You were? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just me being naive.
You were terrified.
I was so scared.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I have nothing to defend myself. All the stories I've heard are like, this stuff that's going to freaking... They're going to get the
artery.
Tusks in your artery and destroy you. And so Landon's like, all right, I'm going to shoot him. Shot him 3 times at, 35 yards in the neck.
Or in the face or something. I don't know. But all I know is that I shot 3 times. It wasn't even face. It like ran towards us. And like had no idea what was happening. And then I turn around and I look up a little bit, and you're hanging from a tree limb because you were just so scared that we were going to get attacked that you literally climbed the closest tree you could find. Didn't say a word. I just turned around and you were up in the tree.
Friggin' Zacchaeus in this tree.
Yeah.
I was terrified.
Oh my god!
And there was not a single speck of blood after that thing.
No.
So
we going into more little hog stories and deer hunting. So like me and Landon in high school would go out to 10 Killer with our dads on weekends and go hunt. Go hunt the public land out there. And there was one time we were hunting by the 10 Killer Dam. And we went down, we did an all-day hunt. We'd usually, especially during football season, we'd leave from our football game, drive out there, hunt all day Saturday, sit Sunday morning, drive back in time for film, and do that whole thing. Well, we're hunting by the dam. We hunt all day, get back up to the truck, and going to and from the little parking area to the like hunting ground is like, what is it? Like a 1/4 mile long hill, more. I don't know.
It feels like it's a lot longer. It's the freaking death march.
It was a death march just to get down to where you could even start to maybe think about putting up a tree stand. And it was just a long sloping hill, rocky dirt. We get all of our crap. We get back up there. We left our stands there because we were going to hunt in the morning. But we got all of our other crap there. And we get up to the trucks, and we're putting our stuff in the back, and hear Landon's dad go, I can't find the jacket. I can't find my jacket. And they're looking for it, and I think me and Landon probably looked at each other because we knew what was coming. And Landon's dad left his jacket down by his tree stand, and it was not an expensive. I don't think it was an expensive jacket, but the hunting jackets,
Not usually cheap.
Yeah. So they look at us and they're like, "All right, well, we'll finish packing up here. You kids walk back down there."
It's like a 20-minute walk, 20 or 30-minute walk there.
We were how old? I mean, we were what? Maybe freshmen or sophomore.
Yeah, we had to be 9th grade.
Yeah, so I mean, we're pretty young, and so we're like, okay, well, like, and there's hogs in the area. We've heard hogs. There was people running hogs, like actually with dogs down there, like a week before that.
There's like black bear there too.
Yeah, there's some
mountain lions.
Yeah, there's a lot of predators.
Coyotes, wolves,
Sasquatch.
Yeah, Bigfoot,
meth head.
And so we're like, okay, well, we need like a weapon or whatever, and all we have is like a dull like pocket knife, and I think they maybe gave us like another little pocket knife, so we both had like at least something. And they give us the crappiest little flashlight that like is. I'm not with. If you have an iPhone right now, your iPhone flashlight is better than the flashlight that we got. And so we make our way down there. Going down the hill's fine. Whatever. We get down there, and after you get down the hill, it's probably about 100 yards walking on this little path. And then it breaks off to the right, and there's a field, and that's kind of where the stand was sitting off of, and that's where the jacket was going to be. So we're moseying on down there. We're kind of going slow, trying to, make sure we don't get ran up on by some hogs or something. And we make our way, find the field, turn into the field, and, we're going. We're like, okay, it's going to be up here on the right. They're, along this tree line. And honestly, this is all a little blur to me, but we hear a hog pretty close, snort, and we both looked at each other. We're like, we gotta go. So we ran forward, grabbed the jacket, and we just start sprinting back. And all we have is these two tiny little knives and a flashlight that is just honestly probably didn't need no, not really a point to have it, to be honest. And we grab the jacket, run all the way back, finally get back up to the car, and we tell them, and we're thinking they're gonna be hey, sorry you guys went through that,
so
or sorry we didn't give you a gun or something. And they just started laughing at us and then started making fun of us. I was like, yeah. We could have, me and Landon at this point weigh I don't know, 130 pounds soaking wet. We're not big kids by any means. And, I was definitely stronger than Landon, that's for sure.
Right, that goes without saying.
So, I would have had to take point on that if we got into a scuffle with some kind of hog. But, yeah, completely ridiculous.
I hate pigs.
Pigs.
There's nothing more... Mountain lions. Mountain lions are the scariest thing in the world.
Sure.
I think we can all agree. There's nothing scarier than a mountain lion. We can all agree.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree, then you're wrong.
You just haven't experienced a mountain lion.
And the second most scariest thing in the world is a pig.
Especially when they're snorting around and you have a flashlight that's about as useful as... I'm thinking it's one of those Walmart ones that the light is yellow. It's like a circle.
It really.
Or it might have been one of those little pocket flashlights, like the pin.
And and I'm not positive on this, but for some reason my memory is saying to me that it had kind of a Barbie princess print on it, it was a little pink little Barbie flash. That's what I'm talking about.
They brought it. They weren't letting you use a nice one. They brought it purely for this exact reason.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But there is really good public hunting land out there, and would highly encourage anybody that is looking to deer hunt. They don't really have any inns anywhere or anything. I mean, there's some big deer out there, and Landon, I think you had a. He's shaking his head. He had a miss out there at that spot by the dam, and that was.
I've had my heart broken a few times in my life, and that one was probably the worst ever.
That was your first real heartbreak, wasn't it?
That was one of the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life, and it was middle of November, maybe the end of November, and it was like, I remember we were doing an all day hunt, and it was like 1:05 p.m. It's like right in the slowest part of the day, and
like after lunch?
Yeah, yeah. So we just sat all day.
Okay.
None of us had phone service down there. We just sat there,
and we weren't walking back to the truck for lunch because it was a hike to get back.
We just sat there from sun up to sundown. And whenever our dads came and got us out of our stands, that's when it was time to go. So I was sitting here, and my dad was down this trail like a couple hundred yards from me, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and I hear something running down. It was like a plowed, like a road just big enough for like a truck to get through, and it had like a weed in it, and I heard something run down it, and it was a giant deer, and it like crossed over right under me. I grab my bow, I draw back. It's standing there like 20 yards.
How big are we talking this thing is?
I mean, I was probably like 14 years old when it happened, but I still, to this day, think it's the biggest deer I've ever seen in person. And this thing is standing broadside. Like, God himself put this deer in front of me and just told it to sit there and just hold on a second. Because it was sitting there for forever. And it had just rained. So the ground was muddy and stuff, and I drew back, and I'm shaking like crazy with my little piece of crap bow with 40-pound draw weight, and I'm about to smoke this thing. And I shoot, and this is when I had those purple and black fletchings that fell off every shot.
You did it yourself?
Because I would glue them on myself, and I was proud with the camo arrows, and I was like, these are sweet. And, yeah, no, they fell off every shot.
Oh, that is tough.
Yeah, so I shot at this deer, and it drops, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just smoked it. Because it's laying on the ground kicking. And I'm like freaking out in my stand. It gets up and jogs off. And I'm freaking out to myself. Little 14, 15-year-old Landon's just like throwing a party in the tree stand. Trying to text my dad, trying to get a hold of him, but there was no service. So I sat there for like 30 minutes maybe, and then I got down and I was going to go check the arrow for blood or whatever. And I'm looking I see my fletchings on the ground, of course, because they fell off the arrow. And I find the arrow. And there's no blood on it, no blood anywhere. And then, like, I see where the deer fell. And it turns out it just slipped, like, on the mud. Because, like, I made it jump or whatever, so it just fell over. And I, like, right then and there, I was like, I'm never hunting again. Because I remember I got in my tree stand. I think I was 14 or 15 years old, probably. But I got in my tree stand, and I cried like a little baby for like an hour straight in my tree stand. Just put my head on my hands, like in my lap, and just cried like a baby because like it does not get worse than that. Thinking you drop a deer, and a deer that big, no. Then
you found out he just slipped in the mud.
Yeah, that was just
and just the shame also of knowing. You're going to have to tell your dad about that one.
Yeah, and my dad would probably be nice about it, but Tim Hawes would.
He's gonna
that's why you don't glue your own fletchings on. That's why you shoot your bow in the off-season. Whatever. Yeah,
no. He's got no room to talk. He's got plenty of... He's got plenty of...
9 or 13 or whatever it is.
Well, and I was also just going to say, I don't know... If you're not familiar with arrows and stuff, the fletching is like the little thing that's like the feathers on the back that like keeps it.
Or people call them veins, I think.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Veins.
Okay. Yeah, well, they pretty much just make the arrow fly straight. That's what their whole role is. So
Not these
when
ones.
when they fall off,
Yeah.
When they fall off, the arrow does whatever it wants.
The
It doesn't
arrow
fly
goes-
straight.
Gosh,
Yeah.
What a
that is
You live and you learn.
tough. Yeah.
terrible.
So I mean, you guys hunted that place hard, like all through high school. It seems like, in my mind, you went probably a few times each season.
So there was Cherokee WMA, which is how
I
many
think
acres
is-
is that?
I think it's-
400,000, 40,000.
I think it's. Well,
It's
I was just out there because there's an Army camp on one side, and then there's Cherokee WMA on the other. The state owns the whole thing, and I can't remember if the whole thing is 30,000 or
Okay.
each side is 30,000.
Okay,
But
something huge.
Regardless, it is a lot.
Yeah, so we would hunt that, and then I think 10 Killer Basin, which is what Hudson's talking about below the dam. I think that would open up because I think they would let little kids hunt it for like black powder or something, and then but it was like you had to draw in, so nobody really messed with it. And then I think they would open it up like November 26th normally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you got. Sorry, I googled the
Okay,
acreage.
perfect.
We got the Cherokee Public Hunting Area is going to be 16,000, and
Okay.
just next to that is another 15,000 for the game management area.
So 30.
Okay. So yeah, 30,000 there, and I know the game management area is draw hunts.
Yeah,
I had a buddy draw in there this year. He just got a doe tag, which kind of sucks, and it was rifle, and it was right in the middle of the rut. And he said he saw the biggest buck of his whole life. Of course, that's just what happens.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a great area to hunt, and there's so much area out there. They do food plots,
Yeah,
they do everything.
The biologists do a really good job out there of I mean, every time I don't even know. There may have been one year that we went out to Cherokee where the food plots weren't really doing too hot or something, but like usually we'd go out there and I mean they'd have wheat springing up and all this stuff, and it's usually great. I don't know how many. We harvested several deer out of there. Missed several also. I watched. This is my biggest pet peeve with hunting with this kid over here, Landon. Landon gets a new sight on his. Well, he's using his dad's old bow. He's using his dad's old bow, single pin, to where like it shifts like it's like a pendulum is how the sight goes.
And you kind of twist it before you shoot, right?
It wasn't
with yardage.
It's too old for that. It was before that stuff came out. It's just like it was like a single pin.
And so, just however high you would aim the bow, it would move.
I never really figured it out, which is why he's telling this story.
So we're sitting there, and we had seen. I think this was I think this was a morning hunt, a Sunday morning hunt, because before this, we had seen this doe come. We nicknamed her Shoddy, and she's coming through, and so like
It was like still had spots on her, like a little baby.
but like we're not seeing anything else, and so we're set up on the same food plot. Landon's on the opposite side of the food plot, tucked in. We're both not right on the edge. We're tucked in a little bit. We got some stuff going internal, just a little bit, but we still have shots out onto the field. Landon's sitting right off of persimmons tree, which is always great for deer hunting. If you ever can set up by persimmons, that's awesome because the deer love
And
persimmons.
you get you a little snack if you
Yeah,
got
you get
your
a little-
granola
yeah,
bar, or
get a little-
don't want that Cliff Bar that's like smashed flat in the bottom of your backpack that's been there for 7 years.
Yeah. So Landon's on the opposite side. From my stand to Landon's stand, we're probably talking 50, 60 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm on the opposite side of the field. And so I can see out into the field, and we can see down on the far end. We're both kind of on the same end. And both our dads are kind of internal down on the other end, trying to catch deer coming into the food plot. And a deer comes out, and it's this little doe that we've seen before. And so, like, and me and Landon are texting each other, and we're like, oh, yeah. Like, and I can see her. I'm like, she's coming. And she's walking the line and she's coming along the tree. She's gonna walk right by me. I've never killed a deer with my bow at this point. I've never shot one with my bow. I'm kind of getting excited because I'm like, she's gonna literally walk 5 yards from me, and I'm sitting there, and Landon stops texting me back, and I was like, like that's weird. Like she's probably 50 yards directly to like from my perspective, my left, and like along the tree line.
And that's the direction Landon's sitting in?
No, Landon. So Landon is directly in front of me on the other side.
Okay.
And this deer is coming from my left along the tree line, coming right towards me, kind of looping around a little bit. She's coming, and I'm looking at her. Landon stops texting me back, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I'm going to kind of get my bow ready and stuff in case she actually does walk right in front of me. And then I hear a boom. I was like, what was that? And I then realized it was Landon shooting an arrow at this doe. You hear the arrow crash through the woods behind her. And like I'm looking, and she kind of just looks around a little bit. Landon reloads, launches another arrow. That's gone too. That sails way over here. Did you get a third one off, or did she run off at that point?
No, I'm pretty sure I shot like 3 or 4.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Landon shot about another one, way off again. She finally realizes something weird's going on. I'm going to jog out of here. And I sat there, and I was like, I don't even know what to say at this point. For Landon, what was that? It was from where Landon was sitting and where that deer was, it was probably a 70-yard, 80-yard shot with his bow.
No, I think it was like 50 or 60.
Okay, well, I was trying to give you a little bit of, I don't know.
It was a long shot.
It was a long shot. He had no business taking that shot.
And with an old piece of crap bow.
He was trying to sneak this doe out from under me. And, so never saw her. Well, actually, I think maybe Cliff shot her, your dad. That one deer that we tracked for like 2 hours.
That was your dad that shot that deer.
I thought that was your dad that gut shot at her.
No, it was your dad.
Was it
my dad?
It was probably my dad. I don't know.
Okay, it was.
But
it wasn't Tom. It wasn't Tom.
I figured out the reason I was because that bow, it might have been crappy. It was like a 30-year-old bow or whatever. But I ended up killing a lot of deer with it. But I think I figured out the reason. Well, I know I figured out the reason why I kept missing is I thought that sight you would like it was a single pin, but it would like swivel a little bit. So I thought that magically it would adjust to the distance that you were shooting at. So if it was at 10 yards or 100 yards, you just need to put the pin on it, and it would magically be adjusted for the distance. So I shot at that deer, missed really low the first shot because it was like a 20-yard pin, and it was at 50 or 60 or whatever. So I was like, that's weird. So I aimed up, and then I just kept aiming higher and higher, and never got to it. But then I was like, Dad, what's going on? Like, I thought this sight adjusted to the distance that the deer was at. He's like, no, it's like, it just does that. So, like, I don't even know why it did it. It was worthless. But he's like, no, it is a single, like, it's 20 yards. And that's it.
No matter what.
Okay.
It's always at 20.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome. So, yeah, you guys hunted out there a lot.
Yeah, we put a lot of time out there. It's a great place to go.
Yeah.
We were gonna go. My dad really wanted to go back out there this season, but we never ended up getting back out there. But we'll probably hunt there this next season too. There's big deer out there. There's a lot of deer out there. A lot of land. I honestly think it's a little underhunted.
Yeah, there's nobody out there.
It'd be weird if we saw somebody, like, hardly ever saw their trucks parked out there, to walk in and set up stands and stuff. I did. Do you remember that guy that sat right by me at Cherokee on that food plot?
Smoking the cigarette?
No, that was Chimney. That was when it was snowing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was when it's snowing. No, this guy walks in and sets up eagle's nest trees. Probably climbs up like I'm 40 feet in the air. And he's probably, I mean, he's not that far away from me, and I didn't want to like spook him or anything. So like, and it was pretty late in the day anyways. And so we all get down, and this guy he was working with the wildlife biologist. He helped plant the food plot and stuff there.
Gotcha.
And so we got to talk. He was super nice and talked to him a little bit, but
he never saw you when he was setting up. And
I was sitting there. Well, it's always so hard because like I'm seeing this guy. It's public land, but I'm like, by the time he makes it across the food plot, he's pretty close to me, and I don't want to like freak him out. So I'm like, maybe I should just stay here. And then like I think he saw me after he probably got into his tree stand.
Yeah. Then he's like, gosh dang it.
But the good news is no deer came through there anyways that evening. So it was like we didn't have an awkward like, oh, who's gonna shoot it? But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What a good time hanging out at Cherokee. And isn't it like, it's so cool that we have public land like that. I mean, people in Texas and other places aren't that fortunate. So
yeah,
it's
Oklahoma
nice.
has a lot of public land. I mean, I'm thinking like what was that stat? We're like top 3 in the country of like public land or something. It's like pretty crazy actually of how much public land. Yeah,
actually?
Yeah, I need to find that.
Okay.
My dad talked about it on the Long Lost podcast episode.
Yeah, that's
briefly,
awkward. Yeah.
But
he talked a lot about Eastern Oklahoma deer hunting that just gone forever.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. Dang, are you sure? Because I feel like Montana, Colorado, New Mexico.
Yeah, it would shock
you. They have like hundreds of millions of acres.
Yeah, it was a shocking statistic. That.
Dang.
I don't know. Maybe we'll look it up here in a second.
Yeah, maybe we can. I can't. Yeah, I can't. I can't type and talk at the same time. I have a stroke every time. It is just simply not abnormal for me to have a stroke. Okay, hang on. I'm looking this up as we speak here. And I'm not quite sure where you got that.
Yeah, well,
because I Googled, which this is totally the wrong thing to Google. I just can't think and type that easily. But it said, I typed in what rank is Oklahoma in public land, and it said Oklahoma is ranked 34th in the amount of property owned by the federal government. But that could just be saying like, Army bases and all that crap too, not necessarily like public hunting land.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and recap that statement.
Well, I do know like just about every single lake that we have here has public hunting around it.
Yeah, like the Army.
How many lakes do we have?
A lot. Yeah, I think recently any of that Army Corps land has been upgraded to public, or at least most of it. Don't quote me on that.
And then OLAP now.
Oh, what's OLAP? I was like, what's a lab?
OLAP.
Okay, yeah, OLAP. That's a really cool program. Kansas has a version. I think a lot of places do. Essentially what it is the state just leasing some private land for public. Golly, there's another stroke. 2 in 1 minute here. But it's basically like instead of you having to pay for a deer lease, the wildlife department does it for you. So I spent a couple summers in Kansas during college posting their version of it, which they call WEHA, walk-in hunting access. Yeehaw!
OLAP sounds cool.
Yeah, OLAP sounds way cooler. Weehaw.
Let's go out to Weehaw, boys.
Yeah, boy. Sounds like you're at Texas Roadhouse. You're about to get sung happy birthday. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. But anyway, yeah, the OLAP land it's a great program. And I stopped and checked one out last year, just kind of in western Oklahoma, and it was actually a really sweet piece of property. So it is cool because sometimes you get those and they can spread out the public land pressure a little bit, but you never know, obviously, anytime what you're going to get on the public land. But I was thinking, so me and Landon have done a lot of, I'm not a big deer hunter. I've talked about that a lot. Hudson and Landon spent a ton of time deer hunting together. me and Landon started hunting together. Well, we started fishing together a bunch, and then I think the first thing we hunted together was turkeys. Is that true? Because I'm thinking the first time we went turkey hunting was out by Kanawha with Ronnie.
Was it, or did we do good old AH before that for the youth?
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason I think it was Ronnie's first, but
Okay.
like maybe the season. Yeah, because you had just got your new shotgun when we did the youth hunt, and you used Ronnie's shotgun when we went with Ronnie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Are you gonna bring that up?
I've got to expose Landon here.
All right.
So we went out with our buddy Ronnie, and he has a spot near Lake Kanawha. It's a private land, and it's a little food plot area. He's got a little ground blind set up there, and it's like that he's hunted that exact like spot for like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like
Kills a turkey every time.
every single time,
Apparently.
except whenever I'm there.
Yeah.
So we walked back in there. We're careful to shut the doors and strip off our sunglasses because he can see. Turkeys can see the shine in your eyes and all this.
Yeah.
And so we get back in there and we're sitting there, and I mean, we called off and on all day long. He has a blue box call.
God, from
half
the
of it is broken.
1400s.
It's literally made out of cottonwood from the 1333 Columbus expedition. But this thing he has, it's a painted,
wrong.
History boy over there.
1492. I know it. This thing is spray painted blue, and he has sidewalk chalk for it. Because like you kind of chalk it up. Yeah, it was blue, right?
To match.
So you have like chalk that makes your box call kind of make that hen turkey noise. And this thing was just kind of a turd, but man, he would crank on it, and it was quiet for all day. And I was starting to get a little bit like, man, this is not going to happen. But it was late season, and it's probably about 30 minutes before shooting light, and we hear like some gobbles, and then hear some more gobbles, and they're getting close. And so Ronnie's like, all right, like, and we kind of rearranged. And so what we decided was Landon was going to shoot out of the blind. And there was 3 of us in a very small blind. So we pretty much just leaned back. Landon got on a knee in front of us, and I looked out the side of the blind, and I'm not lying, there was like 18 strutters.
No, there was 6.
No, in my mind, there's double
They're
digits.
just lined up, coming to.
Like double digits over there. Okay, maybe it was 6, maybe it was 12,
Either
maybe
way,
it was 20.
it's more than 0 and definitely more than 1.
There was a lot. A whole flock in my mind. And like just all of them, like full strut. And I mean, one of them was pretty close. And so Landon gets Ronnie's shotgun, and he's in front of us. And I just plugged my ears and leaned back. I was like, this is going to rock my socks. And so Landon lines up on one of these things and just boom. And like in my mind, kind of in the hindsight, it's like kind of smoky, in there. And then I look, I open my eyes, I guess, again, and Landon is on his back. Guns pointed up in the air. Ronnie like grabbed the gun. Landon had been on his knees, and it literally knocked him over.
Okay, so I wasn't on my knees. I was sitting. I don't know why I chose this position to shoot from, but I was like in a squat. Like I was just holding a squat down at the bottom.
Freaking goblet squat there.
Yeah.
With the 12 gauge.
But yeah, that's why I wasn't very well. And I never shot a. I don't know if I've even ever shot a 3.5 at that point.
Yeah,
And
I don't
that was
think
like a
so.
turkey gun.
Yeah, it was an absolute
Turkey
cannon.
low. Yeah. So.
But needless to say, no turkey
I
died.
didn't kill the turkey, and apparently we still talk about it, so it was pretty embarrassing.
But and then the next season, it was fun because Landon was 18. His birthday's January 27th. Don't worry, I'm not gonna forget that. And then youth season was like whenever it was. And so I was able, because I was under 18, to go out for the youth season. And we went out and got to harvest a turkey together. It was the hottest day of my whole life. We brought one water bottle between us, and we
got lost. We overslept. It was the day of prom, or it was our junior year.
Yeah.
It was prom. And
I didn't
Gibson
go.
was there.
Yep, we certainly weren't going,
Yeah.
or at least I wasn't.
Yeah,
And-
so we stayed up a little too late the night before,
Sure.
hanging around the campfire.
That's right.
Gibson slept in his John boat, and we
Yep.
slept in my back seat, and
Yep.
we were in shotgun or something.
Yep. Yeah, I think I just crawled into the truck because I was like, I am so tired, and I'm going deer hunting. Of course, turkey hunting. I set an alarm, for sunrise, and there's no moving Landon. If you don't know him, he sleeps very hard.
So
He
we woke
doesn't-
up at like noon
Yeah, it literally was.
to morning turkey hunt, and then head home. And we had never been back there before, and it's some pretty rough country.
Yeah.
Pretty thick woods and very hilly. And now we know that there's like a shortcut to get back to where we ended up getting to, but we took the not shortcut, the long cut.
Good grief, yeah.
And I just remember I actually got worried because we had probably walked 3, 4, 5 miles, I don't know, but we were walking for hours.
And
Had
we
no
were,
water left.
We were fighting through the trees. It was like thick cedars and like those like thickets of like thorn bushes. It was literally like it was a fight every step, and we were just purely praying that this spot we saw on Google Maps, which we didn't have service anymore, was like an actual clearing, and it wasn't. But we just kept walking until we found this little clearing area, and that time there actually was so many turkeys there.
Yeah.
It was weird. There was like a group of jakes and like a big old gobbler, and I don't even know how we got successful.
I do remember I was like laying down behind you, like trying to call or something, and you like ran down the hill, hid behind a cedar tree, and then I just remember you shot one, and we were very, very excited.
We were so amped. But then also it was like, we got this thing down, like, now we have to get water.
Yeah.
That was like, it was like actually, we were kind of looking at each other like, we're actually in trouble right now if we don't end up
I'm pretty sure
getting some water soon.
I think we drank out of the lake.
I drank out of the lake,
Okay.
yeah. Because we walked back, we
It was
climbed
American
over the
Horse,
dam. Yeah.
It's clean.
And we,
Ish.
I can't tell you the
But
things
we
I've done
did.
in that way.
We got in the water and drank it.
I actually waded out and got on my hands and knees and drank out of the lake. I was so thirsty. But yeah, that was just a wild one. But just so many, good turkey hunts and all sorts of just stupid, trips, and been some good times. And then as we got into later in high school, actually, I think it would be, so that was probably our junior year. So then the next year is whenever you guys got me into chasing some other feathered beasts, aka the ducks and geese.
Yeah, the good old waterfowl. Thanks
Yeah.
to, so since I grew up on that land, me and my older brother Dalton and my dad always hunted, and my uncle Killen's dad, Uncle Blaine, we always hunted ducks. But I mean, it was more of like pond jumping, and maybe you'd go down for one morning and shoot like a ringneck and a gadwall hen or something. But it was a lot of fun. And then Tate Turner, who will be on the podcast soon.
For sure. He's a good time.
God. But he always hunted, and since we went to Bethany, there was like 8 of us that hunted in the whole school, and he was 2 years younger than us, but since he hunted, like, we kind of just took him in and hung out with them. And he took me and Dalton on our first goose hunt and shot an 8-man limit. And I mean, 64 dead geese will get you hooked for sure.
Forever.
And that started a very long and expensive and sleepless path for about 5 or 6 years of me going down that and chasing after those little lessers.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think senior year of high school was mostly just ducks. And then we had like,
We'd hunt stinchcomb.
oh, yeah, we would hunt stinchcomb like every day. And then we had like 4 goose floaters. And we would go sit at Lake Overholser with 4. And like somehow we would kill like 1 most of the time, or 2.
Banded too.
That's right. A couple times got us some bands.
Well, were
which
you
was
there
fun.
when we shot our when Tate Turner brought it was like a 200 or 300 lessers in Stinchcomb, in the back of Stinchcomb. He somehow, with our 4 old school goose floaters, he brought the lessers down from the heavens.
No way.
And we freaking rained out a group at like 50 yards. We dropped like 4 or 5. There was like 4 or 5 of us in the blind, and we were, I mean, if somebody across the pond would have heard us, they would have thought like somebody was dying. Like we were freaking out,
Just
hugging
scream,
Tate.
yeah, dancing.
Because
Hugging your savior Tate.
yeah, I mean, we were jumping up and down, high fiving. Like it was the best thing ever, just to like shoot lesser Canada geese in Stinchcomb, out of all places. But that was before I went on that 8-man limit hunt. But yeah,
Which got you going on the field hunting side of things.
Golly.
So then, yeah, in college, our freshman year was kind of whenever Landon, Tate, and Dalton really got into the waterfowl grind, especially for the geese. And so, you know, naturally you start out with just this oddball mix of like
Dalton bought
Magnum sleepers.
Dalton bought 2 dozen Avery, like greater goose decoy, like they were big. And then we had like 6 dozen White Rock
Oh yeah.
Canada Goose Silasocks that looked like freaking. I mean, no offense to White Rock decoys, but those things looked like Walmart sacks.
Whose trailer did y'all use?
My
Was
dad's.
They stole Cliff's
And-
trailer.
That's a shocker.
So-
Poor Cliff.
Yeah, we started out with like those decoys, and then the next year we sold. I don't know, like we were having to save up money to buy decoy, but we drove to Kansas and got like 3 dozen Bigfoot decoys. Those things were the most inconvenient,
They're ginormous
huge,
too.
and you'd have to stack dirt up on their feet so the wind wouldn't blow them over.
Oh
Yeah.
And then just and somehow with that mix of decoys, our freshman year of college actually killed a few good hunts.
It was good. A lot, like looking back, some of those hunts in El Reno, where we would find a stacked feed, and then we'd be like, all right, we're doing it, but there's no hides. We're going to have to sit in the middle and lay in the decoys. So we would wear black sweatpants and like a white hoodie or something, or like gray. And we would think with our spread of like 8 dozen decoys
Oh yeah, we were invisible.
in the most hunted city in the freaking state that we would be able to fool those geese. And I don't think we ever shot a bird laying in the decoys.
No, oh what?
That's
Not
why
when
to
I
this
was
day
around.
I'm not going to do it unless I'm like in a snow spread or whatever. But
Yeah, or with those like ghillie blankets or something
Yeah.
like that might be the trick. But yeah, we had one, and it was the first time I ever got to go. It was in a cut Milo field, Zoomallins there,
oh my god!
and it was by Lucky Star Casino. And
convenient.
yeah,
Best of both
Whoa.
worlds.
should we go right now?
No.
But seriously.
Yes, we should.
But I just remember I actually set an alarm, I think, for 2:45 that morning. Everyone was so excited. There was like 15 trucks and like literally
Golly.
12 people.
Yeah, like
And-
people were bringing 2 trucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so wait a second.
Yeah, I'm good at math. We've discussed this.
We started out with like 12 people, and then it was like a Monday morning or a Wednesday morning or something. So
Yeah.
people were like going to work
Yeah.
as we were killing geese.
Yes. But we somehow, like, I've never actually. People talk about the X, and I don't really know. You know, people say the X is where, like, the birds want to be.
Is
And-
that? Are you talking about like decoy setup formation? Is
Well,
that what
no,
you're
like,
saying?
it's just like a term that's like, if someone says, like, you're on the X, like, there's nowhere else. Like X marks the spot.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
like
where the birds are gonna land. Like right.
Different loafs and roosts are coming to one spot, like
Yeah.
joining up.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is coming to that exact spot. And so if you're on quote unquote X, then like that's the dream. And like that's the goal of every hunt. And we actually were on the X for like how many were on that when like whenever you scouted that? Like how much would you guess?
I really don't even remember how many geese were on it. I just know that it was the split. It was right after the split. So
Yeah, it was during finals. Or it was
Yeah.
right before or right after finals.
so we kind of had to swipe that feed from
That's right, from the old
older
man.
guys- the older guys that were there that did not appreciate it at all. Come to find out, but yeah, so it fell on like we could hunt it on a weekday that they couldn't, so we went for it, and we were 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
What 18? I don't even know,
Absolute
but
idiots.
like we're going for it. Yeah, but I mean, it was stacked, and they were on it for the whole split. So what was it? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
I think it was 2 weeks split during that time.
and I think it was like an 80 was it 80 or 40-acre Milo field?
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Yeah, and so we set up on that like that sprinkler.
Yeah, the
whatever head.
pivot.
Yeah, the pivot.
Uh-huh.
And they came in and they started landing like out in the middle of the field for some reason. And
And it's cut Milo. Like we thought we needed to be by the pivot.
yeah, we thought we needed to hide or whatever, which I mean you do need to hide, but not when you're on the X, as Glenn was saying, and they've been there for 2 weeks because they don't even care what's going on at that point. So we like kind of just scrambled, like we were frantic, going crazy, picking up decoys, and I don't even think, did we take our blinds? Did we end up sitting on
we
our
took
blinds?
blinds. I don't think we brought all the decoys over.
No, we had like 2 spreads, and we walked out like we were running out into the middle of the field, scaring these geese up off the field, and then like moving. At that point, maybe we had 10 dozen decoys total. So we moved maybe like 4 dozen decoys, put our laydowns up, didn't brush them in, and I mean they were coming in on a rope. Like
It was wild. Like I have a Snapchat video from that day, and there was like just like thousands of birds just flying around, just circling us over and over again. And like these huge spins would come down, and like we would stack some up, and then they'd fly off. And it was like super windy too.
Yeah.
But it was just, it got me hooked.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And so then from then on, yeah, kind of all through college, that was the winter time.
yeah, 'cause
At
you
least-
get 6 weeks off or whatever for
Yeah.
Christmas break. So
Yeah.
Why not?
just go hunt.
But yeah, so we've had some good hunts. I guess we'll end it with my favorite Landon story. Waterfowl hunting. Oh my gosh. This one is, let's just say, slightly explicit. Or should I say explosive? So me and Landon are with our buddy Noah Edwards, the Southwest Oklahoma elk hunting legend. Man, why do we say legend so many times around here? I just feel like it's a good
You are
description.
not allowed to use it with him.
Yeah,
He will
I'm
be.
done.
He'll be a future guest.
That's
as well.
God, I can't wait.
It will be a 9 or 10 hour episode. No
So when you're
doubt.
farming, what you want to
Hey,
do?
Is you're baling the hay. Anyway, he's in vet school, but so me, Landon, and our buddy Noah are out at our local watering hole, Lake Overholser, and we just go out there for an after class kind of evening hunt. Just a little public spot by us. It's not really great or anything, but you're gonna see some birds probably, and you got a chance at shooting some. And so would you say it was a pretty chilly day?
I would say that it was pretty chilly.
It was a pretty cold winter day, and we're going out. And was that one of those? I think we sitting behind a broken blind that day, or were we in a blind?
We were not in a blind.
Okay, so there's basically all these blinds that people draw for. If they don't show up, you can hunt them, but sometimes people will draw the blind and then like not build it or not fix one up. And so the spot we wanted to sit, the blind was broken. And so what we would do is we would just either stand in the water or we would bring like a stool or something. And it was so cold in the winter, just being chest deep in the water for, a few hours. But this day we had stools. And but it was kind of deep still. So like your stool is completely underwater or bucket or whatever. But it was like whenever you're standing, it was like about mid-thigh deep. And so, the bucket, you can sit on it, but, the water's coming up to you like kind of your belly button, Yeah. And so we're sitting there and Landon goes, oh gosh, my stomach hurts. And I was like, what are you going to do, man? And he's like, no, I have to go. And I was like,
now.
I was like, what do you mean you have to go? He's like, I am about to crap my pants. And I was like, what's a long way like back to the truck to get a napkin or something? He goes, no, I'm going right here. And I was like, what do you mean you're going right here?
As I'm undressing myself.
And he's like tearing layers off, like handing us jackets. And I'm like,
frantically.
I'm like, Landon, we are mid-thigh deep. I'm like, I don't know what you can't magically get taller right now. And he goes, oh, I can make it happen.
Well, I had no choice. It's going to fill around my ankles.
So Landon shuffles a little bit away from us into the cattail slightly.
Like 5 feet away from
like
y'all.
Yeah. Like he doesn't go where we're standing, but he goes just a little bit away. And I see him like he's unbuckling his waders, and I'm just still sitting there. I'm like, it is like he's thigh deep. He can't squat or anything right here. So he rolls down his waders and starts unbuckling layers of sweats and, long underwear. And I'm like, he's not about to do this. And so he rolls down his waders and then pulls down his pants to, just barely below his butt because, like, he's thigh deep. Like, It's pretty deep. And I can still like envision it to this day. He like leans over and just you see him kind of concentrate and then just one strong push. It arcs over his
It arcs.
Literally arced over his waders and landed in the water. And I was just sitting there, equal parts absolute disgust. But then there's like a small party that's like, good grief. That's pretty impressive. And so then we're sitting there and I am like gagging but cracking up at the same time. And he's like, what do I wipe with? And sure enough, he sees a cattail head. Like the corn dog looking thing. And Landon used the cattail to clean up after the absolute moonshot.
Moonshot.
Oh my gosh, just one of the craziest experiences ever. Needless to say, I don't think we shot anything that night.
No.
But thank goodness it was a wind that was drawing that brown trout the other direction, because that was gross. But I guess with that, we'll wrap it up for tonight. Just note to self, Landon's got some power.
Dang right.
So anyway, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Hudson, you got any final thoughts?
you just never know what you're gonna get when you go outdoors and hunt. So
Never know when your tummy's going to be turning and
Yeah.
you're feeling kind of homesick.
yeah.
Oh, well, Landon, thanks for joining us tonight. Hopefully you'll be on pretty regularly in the future here, just depending on all your shifts and
Yes.
everything like that. So back the blue, as I like to say. Support the troops, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, thanks for coming on. I guess here's the final plug. If you like the podcast, give us a rating or a like. I'm going to start pushing that because I think it's cool. We already have a good number of them on Spotify. Loving that everyone's listening and tuning in pretty regularly. Thank you guys for that. Share the podcast with someone if you like it or if you think of someone that might enjoy it. That would be a huge help to us. And as always, give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook, Yellow Hat Outdoors. Send us a DM or an email, yellowhatoutdoors@gmail.com. And we'd love to talk about whatever topic you got. So we're learning technology, and hopefully soon we'll start having some remote guests on and get some more people involved in this. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and good grief, there it was. And we'll catch you next week. So peace out.
Thank you.
Bye.